It is Wednesday here on Bearcats Daily. Welcome back in, everybody. As always, I am your host, Blake Thornton. Appreciate you tuning in. Hey, some cool news for UC baseball program going on. Our Big 12 Freshman of the Year, Enzo, he earned an All-American honors for this season. Congratulations to him. He will be back next season and hope to many more All-American bids for him going forward throughout his career. So once again, just more accolades coming in for an absolute amazing season for UC baseball, and I hope it continues. We've got a hot program, and I'm looking forward to hosting a regional for the College World Series next year. Now, some onto the gridiron. Obviously, we had a big weekend in terms of visits for the football team. Guys coming in, giving their commitments, hard recruits, things like that. It was an excellent weekend all around. You get guys in the building that sign, give their commitments. Obviously, National Signing Day is not until February 5th of 2027 is National Signing Day. So while they do give the hard commitments, obviously they still have time, so on and so forth. But another one that was signed this past weekend was Joshua Jones out of Sewanee, Georgia. He is a 6'3", 275-pound lineman. In high school, he did play both interior of defensive line and left tackle. He has signed with UC to play as a D lineman. So one thing about playing both sides of the ball, especially as somebody who does have linemen on his squad that would go offense and defense, you really learn techniques and habits of both sides. So when I'm playing offense and I'm working on what I'm being coached, how I'm handling rushers, what my hands are doing, how my footwork is. When you go to the other side of the ball, knowing that knowledge of, hey, when I do this, they're going to be trying to do this, I can pick my spots better on what I'm trying to do to get past and get in the backfield. It'll be interesting to see this dynamic for this gentleman as he comes in. His junior season, he had 4 sacks and 10 tackles for loss last season. Not currently ranked, but remember, UC has a historical success of getting under-recruited guys and turning them into NFL draft picks. So I'm not saying this guy is an automatic NFL player. What I'm saying is we don't put a lot of stock into the stars and the recruiting because some guys just don't get noticed. It happens. It's part of the game. So no biggie there. But obviously, another recruit signing gets this class just bolstered up more and more coming into class of 2027, with a lot of focus having been on the trenches, getting guys for offense and defensive line. So far for the class of 2027 for the football team, there are 11 hard recruits. That is, of course, headlined by 3-star wide receiver Ronnie Gomiller and the dual threat quarterback 3-star Camden Hughes. Will Camden play this season? Probably not. We've got J.C. French coming off the helm as a redshirt senior this year. You'll see Camden probably, I'd say, next year or the following year, as if he stays around. Or, if UC's just tanking, get him in the game. See what we've got for the future to build with. But no big deal. Obviously, 11 hard commits now. You're hoping to bump that class up a little bit. UC is currently ranked the mid-50s of recruiting. Not horrible. I'd like to see him probably in the top 25. Top 30 would be ideal. Unfortunately, I just don't see that happening with the current coaching regime. But out of these 11 hard commitments, obviously we have the 4 offensive linemen that have put in their commits, 4 defensive recruits overall. There is 1 defensive lineman, and as we know, 3 guys in the secondary, and 3 skill position players, which is wide receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, things like that. Now, where I'm starting to look at this from an outside point of view is that schools are built on the coaches. The coaches and what they build in their program is what draws guys in or what makes guys leave. We know Satterfield is on a hot seat this season, whether it's public knowledge or not, whether the news talks about it. At the end of the day, Satterfield has not done enough in his tenure here so far to justify keeping him as a coach, especially if it falls apart again this year. You gave him time. He built a program, had one of the best quarterbacks, best offensive lines. The pieces were there, and we just couldn't get it done. And the statistics back that up: record, play, month of November, all that stuff. So if he leaves, and you've got these 11 hard recruits currently, plus maybe some more, do you keep them? Do those recruits still come to town? And I think most of them would. Obviously, it's not just the head coach why you pick a certain place. Positional coaches, I think, weigh in a little more in that realm. what the college campus is like, the stadium, the locker room. There is more that plays into it than just as the head coach. However, if we remember when Fickle left, after UC made that run to the playoffs, yes, we had all the guys go in the draft. I'm not counting that. That's just part of college. The guys are going to graduate. They're going to go in the draft. They're going to go on to do other things. I'm talking about the rest of the guys that left town. Our kicker, a local guy, Alex Bales. He was there. Fickle left, and he just wasn't having it. He went and left and went to Oregon. I know you're saying a kicker. That's the example you're going to use. Hey, it's still a player. Kickers are people too. We ain't going to hate on them. So are punters. So are long snappers. Everyone's got a role to play on the team. But if all of these recruits are signing now with Coach Satterfield at the helm, National Signing Day is February 5th. Let's say the Bearcats have a bad season. We go below 500. We miss a bowl game. Things just aren't working. And somehow our athletic director, John Cunningham, just says, you know what? We got to make a change. Satterfield, appreciate it. We're going to go a different direction. Do you lose those recruits? It's definitely a fear. And I think it's a real big part of why coaches tend to get quite a bit of leash at some of these schools when it comes to their jobs and their performance. You don't want to give up that recruiting class. All that time and effort put into these recruits, the relationship is built with that coach. We've seen it with Coach Calhoun coming to the University of Cincinnati for basketball. He came from Utah State and actually brought a couple guys with him, some key players from Utah State, especially young key players, guys who are going to be there for a while. These guys want to play for that coach. Basketball is a little smaller, but it's still the same idea of that you were recruited, you build a relationship with this coach, it's who you wanted to play for, so why not go follow him? Now, if Coach Satterfield gets fired and he doesn't go anywhere else, hey, good for us. But it is something that I thought about in the back of my mind. Do we lose recruits if we fire Satterfield? But I think the bigger question that you have to ask yourself is, would we lose more with him as the coach if our program is not succeeding? I think that is a far and away answer is yes. That's just going to have to be the case for that. So it is a fear in the back of my mind. If Satterfield gets fired, all these recruits they're signing, especially this quarterback and these receivers that are coming in, do we lose them? I would say no, not right away, especially if he's not immediately rehired, which his coaching at Louisville and UC, I can't say he'd be a hot coach to pick up for a school looking. Not for a Power 5 anyway, or Power 4, Group of 5, however you want to put it these days. So does it hurt us? No, but in the back of my mind, it is a fear for these guys that you do all this work to get recruits, these guys to sign with UC, but then the season just falls apart and they just go, all right, Satterfield's gone and these guys just get out of town. So it'll be something to think about. Obviously, I would like a better coach. I want a coach that's going to win games, can make adjustments, and finish the season strong. We've long since discussed that. But it is a thought, something for y'all to think about. Would love to hear your thoughts on that as well in terms of recruits, relationship with the head coach, or with more of the team position coaches in college campus. So would love to hear your thoughts on that. But wanted to kind of do a little different switch of things here to close out the show today. And that's talk about our guys that got drafted this season. Some guys that are going to probably make an impact in the NFL this year as rookies. And just kind of, highlight some of them in their work. Obviously, we're going to start with the number 1 draft pick out of UC. He was not drafted number 1. I'm saying the first UC player drafted this year was Jake Golday, drafted in the 2nd round to the Minnesota Vikings. He's currently behind Eric Wilson on the depth chart at number 2 for the linebacker position. There's 2 or 3 different linebacker positions, so they list them out. Ivan Pace Jr. is also the number 2 linebacker for his linebacker position. I believe they got him listed as the outside linebacker on that. Golday plays more of an interior linebacker position. But obviously, if they want him to, they'll coach him up. He'll play other positions. So Ivan Pace is a starter. He did start quite a few games for them last season. And I think you'll see Golday with his skill set and a little bit of work here as we get into OTAs. I think you'll see him play in a lot of games for Minnesota. And it'd be great to see both Pace and Golday as the starting linebackers for the Minnesota Vikings. That would be absolutely amazing to see these guys succeed. So look for Golday to really make an impact out there in Minnesota. I do expect him to play and be a standout for them. So it'll be cool to see another Bearcat performing well. And we're going to stay with the Vikings for UC players because Gavin Gerhardt was a center for us last year. He was drafted by the Vikings. He is 3rd on the depth chart. So what does that mean? Well, it probably means he's not going to see much of the field as for his rookie season. He was drafted in the 7th round. They're going to bring him in. He'll play preseason. He'll play preseason. Hopefully, things go well. He can somehow move to the 2nd spot, be the backup center. Obviously, we don't see every moment of their camp and their workouts, so we don't know. But obviously, he's one of the best linemen to come out of UC, and I think he will do very well if he doesn't get on at Minnesota. These guys do put film on. They do have the practices. They do have preseason. Teams will pick him up, and at the very worst, he signs on the practice squad, makes some good money, and can still be a part of an NFL team. But I think best case for him right now would be that he comes out of camp in preseason as the number 2. And if Lord be a lineman goes down for the Vikings, be available, be willing to learn a new position and get playing time. Get in where you fit in. If you're a center or you're a long snapper or whatever the position you may play, let's say we'll just take Gerhardt. He's a center, 3rd on the depth chart, 7th round. If you're sitting there in camp and you hear him go, well, I need a tackle for this. We've only got some depth here, and he can't do this. Put your hand up. Volunteer. Go out there and be like, you know what, coach, I got you. I'll learn this. Let's go. The ability to mold yourself to what they need and willing to try goes a long way. Never be afraid. If you can get in and on the field and make a roster spot, find a place. If you're a left tackle, it's hard to go left tackle to right tackle because being a quarterback's blind side is such a vital part. It's not that easy, but if you're willing to learn and you trust yourself to get it done, volunteer for that. So I'm not saying that's what he'll do, but that is an option for him to see the field for Minnesota. Now, one of the other guys, of course, everyone's one of the best tight ends to ever come through UC, and I'm not talking about Travis Swift. Joe Royer, obviously going out there to Cleveland. He's 3rd on the depth chart there. Harold Fannin Jr. and Jack Stoll are currently listed above him. But again, this is just after they've been drafted. They're coming in. The depth charts are going to change. They can change, I should say. But with his skill set, no reason he shouldn't see the field. I know Harold Fannin's dealing with a bit of an injury right now, so we don't necessarily know if he'll be there. That just gives more opportunity for Royer. I'm hoping that they work on him with his run blocking because that's a way for him to get a roster spot. A run block, we know he can catch. We know he can be a good receiving tight end. If he can work on that the run blocking, that's more time to see the field. Do what you can to get on the field, make an impression, and work your way up as a rookie. Come in and just work. If he goes out there and he's blocking and he's got himself a guaranteed spot to see the field on run plays, hey, great. That's a way to see the field. And of course, then I want to close it out with our 2 receivers that were drafted that went to Kansas City, Cyrus Allen and Jeff Caldwell. Now, Kansas City, as we know, typically does wide receiver by committee. They don't have any major names. Yes, they have a number 1 receiver. They have Jalen Royals, who coming off his rookie season, Rashee Rice, those guys. All the trouble aside and all that, Kansas City really doesn't make their name off of their receivers. They make their name off their quarterback, their tight end, and their defense. Receiving wise, they don't have guys that are setting records every year. They don't have Jamar Chase, the Njigbas. They don't have the Odell Beckham Jr.'s. Like, that's just not what they've done the last 10 years. And then you got, and I know you'll say, well, they had Tyreek Hill and all this. Yeah, Tyreek was good. He's a great receiver, but he's not there. So just looking at the past couple years, there is room. And I think Cyrus Allen will make quite the impression for them this year. He's currently ranked at the number 2 as an outside wide receiver for that. I believe it's the X. Z works out of the slot, if my memory serves me right. I know someone's going to fact check and be like, dude, what are we doing? Sorry, I've been hitting the head a lot. There's a lot. It just is what it is. So you can fact check me on that all you want. But I think Cyrus Allen will see a lot of time for Kansas City, and I fully expect him to make an impact. Both guys are long receivers with good speed that can just break guys off in the route. And with Mahomes at quarterback, timing is going to be important with those routes. We know the guys can run the deep route and go up after a ball, but I want to see Allen and Caldwell snapping off routes, getting out and making that timing routes with Mahomes, because that's where I think they're going to get a lot of their bread and butter and a lot of their playing time. Kansas City, especially over the last couple of years, they wanted those really fast guys who can go get the deep ball, and I think that's what's hurt them throughout the season, is that they don't really have guys that are just running routes and making the surefire catches. They drop a lot of passes. Allen and Caldwell are very strong-handed. I hope to see them on the field. They're another one to watch for going into this NFL season. So I hope your Wednesday continues well. We're almost to that downhill push for the weekend. If you have any thoughts, any comments, questions, fact checks you want to put them in the comments for me. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, I am your host, Blake Thornton. This is Bearcats Daily. Have a good one.